Hello, you beautiful children. I am semi-free, not really. I had my Japanese test today for my scholarship, and it went quite well. It was harder than the practices, but at the very least it's done, and I think I did pretty good, so that's nice. Got an interview coming up on Friday, so that's going to be exciting. But you know what's not coming up on Friday? It's coming up on Thursday, not even Saturday. On Saturday I'm getting vaccinated. On Thursday, tomorrow, we're opening a bunch of packs for the next Zero set. Exciting, yay! So yeah, going to be opening a bunch of packs for set 20. Looking for Kagero and Link Joker and maybe other stuff, we'll see. But most importantly, getting Danji and Tomori skins, so make sure you come through on the twitch.tv/DifferentFight. You literally, it's all over this layout, right? It's hard to miss. So yeah, hopefully you guys are doing good, and hopefully I see you guys tomorrow morning. Anyway, new set in Global coming out today. Final set for the Link Joker era. After this, you guys are going to Legion. You're joining us in Legion. It's going to be an interesting time. Legion's been a bit of a mixed bag for me, personally, but we'll talk about that next month. Anyway, let's get into it. This set supports the, like, literally main character clans. We got Shadows, we got Golds, we got Kagero, and we got Link Joker. Literally as main character-y as it gets. We're just gonna go in order, right? So, first things first, Shadows gets the, like, best ever starter it's ever had, which is Judge Bao. I think very few starters rival how long this was good for. So this guy says, at the end of the attack... Let's restart. When he boosts a Phantom, and the attack hits, count them as 1, put him into the soul, choose 2 grade 1 or less cards from your deck, call them as rest. So literally, Mordred Phantom, Phantom Blaster, all are fair game. Judge Bao is insane. So let's look at what kind of things can he call. Of course, Doran. Doran's pretty cool. You know, Doran's great, but that's an old card. We have a Mordred Searcher. That's pretty cool. When placed on rear circle, discard a grade 3 to search your deck for Mordred Phantom, add it to your hand. Pretty nice. On top of that, this doesn't really run, but this wasn't a TCG. This guy says, when your grade 0 rearguard is placed, if your Vanguard is a Revenger, gain 3k. It stacks. Very nice. You could also call some other stuff, like when this boosts a Phantom, Soul Blast 1 to give 4k. Nobody runs this. Then this is when... Oh, sorry, this is a future card. Don't look at that. But you know what you will call from Judge Bao all the time? Swordbreaker. Swordbreaker is not a Revenger, but Swordbreaker is insane. When placed from deck, Soul Blast 1 and draw 1. What this means is, you use Judge Bao's skill to call 2 cards out. That's already +1 because you cleared a space from your board to make another, like, to re-occupy that space and make another space, right? So, you already +1'd, and then you Soul Blast, let's say you call double Swordbreaker, you Soul Blast 2, you draw another 2 cards, you have now literally, like, +3'd from 1 skill. That is insane. That's like insane how that happens. Helps you draw into your PGs, drawing to your like ride targets, your Blaster Dark Avengers, literally everything you would want. Judge Bao is really good, and Swordbreaker is going to be here to stay as well. It's still a run here in Legion, so I definitely recommend picking these up. This is also a good common to have and will be run in the future as well. I can already tell you, I come from the future. I know what happens. Listen to me, okay? Then we got this thingy, the self-damager. Not really used. Then we have the grade 2 variant of the grade 1 that basically says when your grade 1 or lower rearguard is placed, if your Vanguard is a Revenger, gain 3k power and it stacks. So it's alright. I mean, again, this was run in the TCG as like a way to like farm a bunch of cards and like gain a bunch of power, but not really used anymore. This card's interesting. The Bloodmaster. When placed, if your damage is 4 or less, cost 1 and put the top card of your deck into your damage zone, I believe face down, and draw 2. So it's nice draw effect, but it doesn't heal. Like, you self-damage yourself and that's it. Like, it doesn't go back at any point. That's just it. So maybe this will be run. Like, I don't know. This wasn't really run in JP too much. People tested it out and they just didn't find it too good. So not really a thing too much, but what is a card that is definitely run is the Mana. Mana is Vanguard Rearguard Circle when placed, search your deck for a grade 1 or less Revenger, and call it to the same column as this unit, and then at the end of that turn, put the unit back to the bottom of your deck. Now, this is obviously cool because it's a costless superior call, but it goes back to your deck. So if you call it on turn 2, kind of goes back. It doesn't feel so good, right? You want to like call it out when you're going to retire something, right? You want to call it out and then retire the grade 1 that she calls out so it doesn't go back to your deck. More stonks, right? We like stonks in card games. I think it's a great card. It is run, but you know, that's something to consider, whether you want to play her in the future or not. Finally, for the grade 3s, we got a few new ones. A few commons, of course, that are pretty skippable. When his attack hits a Vanguard, give another unit plus 3k. This is like Limit Break 4, once per turn, cost 2. And I think... Oh wait, this is like... retire 2 like Demon World Castle or whatever they're called, rear guards, like the you know, these things from Shadows, like, you know, the ones. And then you search your deck for 2 grade 2 or 3 grade 2 or less and call them. This might be a fun budget deck, actually. I completely skipped on this card, my bad. He also gains 3k when he attacks the Vanguard and Vanguard Circle, so maybe if you guys want to challenge some budget decks, have fun with that. This card's also really nice for budget decks. I remember when this card came out in TCG, it was a promo. Shadow Blaze Dragon, on number 4, when he attacks the Vanguard for that battle, he gains the following ability. End of that battle, +1, retire 2 of your own rear guards, to choose 2 of your opponent's rear guards and retire them. And you can +1 to gain +2k power. It's not good, but it was pretty, like, it was used in PBO, I think, for a little bit. So it has a nice little memory, but that's about it. We have this Revenger. He is the Peredur, something like that. When he attacks the Vanguard, number 4, +1 and retire 2 Revenger rear guards to gain 10k and a crit. And then Vanguard Circle in place, +1, search your deck for a grade 1 or less and call it to the same column as this unit. So this is... Some people were like, oh, this just replaces Diarmuid. And it kind of doesn't at the same time, because Diarmuid is the only like non-Counterblast reliant card in the deck, like grade 3 in the deck, outside of Mordred, I guess. Whereas this does need the Counterblast, so if you're like super choked on Counterblast from using like Blast of Dark Avengers and like Drag Rulers, then I don't know if it's really worth running, but that's up to you, right? Then we have Desperate Dragon. Quite desperate indeed. Limerick 4, when he attacks the Vanguard, if you have more rear guards than your opponent, +1 and he gains 5k and a crit. Yeah. Then, at the beginning of the main phase, you can retire 1 of your rear guards to choose an opponent's randomly choose an opponent's rear guard, prioritizing the back row and retire it. You know the drill. And when he attacks the Vanguard, gain 3k. Yeah, I mean, this is run as like a one-of sometimes. Again, it's like that Diarmuid slot. You just run as one-of, that's about it. But the main kind of like feature for Shadows in this set is Drag Ruler Phantom, of course. This is the main bread and butter for Shadows, basically. It is a skippable card, though. Like, I run this as a one-of now in Legion, and if you want to play Shadows in Legion and you're like lacking the resources, don't bother with the triples in this set. I'm just going to tell you that much. Don't bother with Desperate. Don't bother with like more than one Drag Ruler, and even then is debatable. Like, if you're gonna pick up cards for future sets for Legion, you want Mana, probably. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Like, some people do, some people don't. And you definitely want Swordbreaker. The rest of the stuff is kind of skippable. So Drag Ruler, it is a cool card, but it doesn't really like come back that much in the future. His skills are make 4 once per turn. If your opponent has 4 or less damage, +1 and retire 2 of your Revenger rear guards, and he gains +10k for that turn, and you deal your opponent 1 damage. And then when he attacks the Vanguard, he gains 3k power, and he's a cross ride with Mordred Phantom. So it's a cool ability because you can like cross ride into him, BDR to pop a rear guard to make a 21k column, and then you want to have like another like 6, like I don't know, like you basically want to have like 2 21k columns plus this, that's like 33 plus, and then like because you'll deal a damage to your opponent, trigger effects can activate, it's not like Nouvelle, and you'll basically like then push, like you'll still be able to push the same amount of like damage as you would on a Raging Form turn. It's just that the damage goes in during the main phase, so you can adjust your board for it before going into battle. So Drag Ruler is fine, but nowhere near as good as this that's coming in the future, so we'll talk about that in a few months. All right, we'll talk about that in a few months, in like three months. So that's it for Shadows. It's solid, but let's talk about Gold. Gold's got some stuff in this set. Got a comment. Oh no, not grade 3s first. Come on, man. What are we doing here? We got to talk about the grade 0s first, of course. All right, so I think the new starter they got is the Alm from Fire Emblem Echoes, the best game of all time. When your Vanguard is grade 3 or higher, you can put this into your soul to search your deck for Blaster Blade Liberator and put it on top of your deck. And then, if you didn't have a Blaster Blade Liberator, you can put it from your drop zone on top of your deck instead. So literally is like, put this thing into Soul to put a card on top of your deck. It doesn't draw you anything, it doesn't like countercharge, it doesn't do anything. It just puts it on top, which is like a gimmick for Monarch Sanctuary Alfred, and that's it. So what else we got? We got 2 new grade 1s. We got this thing, 10k attacker. If you have more regards than your opponent, crazy. But the most important card is the Zoron. This will be used in Legion a little bit as well. When placed from deck, you can put him into your soul and then look at top 3 cards of your deck and call a Liberator from among them. So basically, if you superior call him, you can like redo the superior call by looking at the top 3 instead it's pretty nice. It's like a nice little, you know, redo effect. I like those kind of things, and I think it was quite good in the TCG too, so that's why I have like fond memories with it. We'll get to these boys in a few months, y'all. I guess in 2 months. In 2 months? Yeah, 2 months. 2 months. I think 2 months. Anyway, let's see. Let's take a look at the new stuff. We got this doggo. If you have a grade 3 in your hand, gains 3k. Interesting. Then we got this girl. When placed from deck, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add a grade 3 or above from among them to your hand. I guess like this was pretty good, I think, in G, because it would search Stride Fodders, but I don't think this is that great for the time being, even if it is costless. This is a unlocker. When placed on rear circle, unlock something. Pretty cool. And finally, one of the most important cards is the Star Rain Trumpeter. This will be a 4 of in Liberators for a long time. So if you're a Gold Paladin player, I recommend that you pick this up. When placed on rear circle, put a Blaster Blade Liberator either from your drop zone or from your soul back to your deck. And then you shuffle your deck, and you call the top card of your deck to an empty rearguard circle. And this effect, the cost of this effect prioritizes the drop zone, you know, as the target to put the Blaster Blade Liberator back from. This card is really good. It's a free superior call. Quite literally free, and you get to recycle your Blaster Blade Liberators, which means that you'll be able to like reuse their on-call effect to counterbust and like retire something. You'll be able to use the countercharge from the grade 1 again. Things like that. It's really good. It's really, really good. This card is just insane for Liberators, and it's going to be really good for a long time to come. And then finally, let's take a look at the grade 3s. There's a few. There's this common. When it attacks, you can put one of your other rearguards to the bottom of your deck, and then you get 5k power. It's fine. It's not really that great. But you know what is great? This Holy Shine Dragon was actually used a lot. This card was quite popular in the JP server, and also, I mean, it's just a cool little gimmick. It's literally a Break Ride Looper. So what this guy says is, let's look at the second skill first. When placed on Vanguard Zero, count +1 to call the top card of your deck. Seems alright, nothing too special so far. But first skill is, Limerick 4, at the end of your turn, you can choose a grade 3 from your soul and ride it. And if you did, you choose this card from your soul, add it back to your hand. So what this means is, you can Break Ride this over Gancelot, the Break Ride, and basically, you know, like, use Superior Call something, and then use Gancelot's skill to power up the board, and then you can use a skill at the end of turn to basically ride the Gancelot back, add him back to hand, and then just Break Ride again next turn. So it's pretty cool. You can also do this with the like Bleobaris or whatever the other Break Ride is. It's just literally a Break Ride Looper, and I think for that reason, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. So people do like this card, and it does see play in the future too. A little bit, not too much, but it's fine. It's fine. There's this filler like Fighters Collection, double rare as well. Once per turn, liberate 4, count +2, and put one of your Liberator rearguards back to the bottom of your deck, and they'll get top 4 of your deck and call 2 cards among them and give those units +5k. Like in a vacuum, this isn't too bad, but there's a lot better things. He also gains 3k when he attacks the Vanguard, which is a thing. You know, it's a thing. It's certainly a thing. But of course, the poster child of this set, one of them at least, is the Monarch Sanctuary Alfred. So this guy has a multitude of skills. First things first, let's go top to bottom, right? Or sorry, bottom to top. During your turn, he gains +1000 for every single rearguard you have. Very Alfredy, right? Second skill, Limerick 4 once per turn, Soul Blast 2, count +3. Pretty expensive, but not too expensive, right? This proved to be not too expensive in the end, and actually quite okay. To, like, you pay that cost to put all of your rearguards and all of your locked cards on top of your deck, and then call the top 5 cards, and then look at the top 5 cards of your deck and call all Liberators from among them. Sorry, call 5 Liberators from among them, not all of them. So it's nice. You know, you get to unlock your field, so you have a good matchup against Link Joker. You get to basically reuse on-call effects, so things like the Blaster Blade Liberator, like countercharging, you know, things like, I don't know, Josephus, you can like reuse the draw skill, but you don't have Sulfur in this deck, but that's more of a thing in Legion, I guess. In general, like, this card is just really nice. Like, reusing your on-play effects is really cool, and just in general, it even gets better with his Limerick 5, which says, when your Blaster Blade Liberator is called from your deck, for that turn, he gains 10k in a crit. So people made a build basically where you search out your Blaster Blade Liberators, and then you call them down, use a second skill to put them on top of your deck, and then call them back out, and then his first skill like gives them a bunch of extra crits, and you just like OTK your opponent, or like damage deny them and stuff like that. it's interesting, I guess. This card, like in general, I do recommend picking it up because as long as Link Joker is meta, this card will help golds. They do have other unlockers, but it's just a good one. Like, it's just a good unlocker. And like right now in Legion, there's a lot of retires. People will run Garmor at 4, but I can see this going up to 4 when Link Joker becomes popular again, which might happen. We have it coming up in set 20, so that'll be a different story. Alright, moving on, let's take a look at Kagero. So Kagero, this was my favorite decks from this set actually, so I quite enjoyed this. There was the Overlord-based starter, who says, if your Vanguard is an Overlord, put him into your soul. For that turn, give your Vanguard the following ability. When this attack hits the Vanguard, choose an opponent's rearguard and retire it. It's not too bad, but it's not Conroe. That's always the thing, like these effects are pretty nice, but they're not Conroe, so it's kind of awkward. Then we have this thing, when your Vanguard's attack hits, he gains plus 3k, so he stacks with every time the attack hits. If you have an Overlord Vanguard, 10k attacker, nothing too special. The card that you do use though is the Eternal Bringer Griffin. Rearguard circle when placed, discard a grade 3, search your deck for Dragonic Overlord. Specifically Dragonic Overlord, which means either the one that wipes out the front row or the break ride that's introduced in this set. Really nice for just like searching out your pieces. I like that card a lot. Then let's take a look at the grade 2s, if we can just get to it here. So we got some commons. During your turn, if you have a grade 3 in your hand, plus 3k. When it attacks, counts 1, gain 4k. But these are not that good. When the attack of your Vanguard hits, gain 3k. This card is like on place, counts 1 for that turn. Your Flame Dragon Vanguard gains 5k. Also not really good, but you know what's amazing? Draconic Burnout. So a lot of people look at this card like, ugh, they changed the cost. Is it even going to be good? So in the TCG, he was like Soul Blast 1 and put a Overlord from your drop zone at the bottom of your deck to retire an opponent's rearguard. Now he says, when placed on rearguard circle, cost 1 and like banish a Overlord from your drop zone to retire an opponent's rearguard. People thought like, oh, bad, it's not even returning back to deck, like that's gonna be so bad. Turns out this, the cost 1 to retire an Interceptor is still amazing. So this card I definitely recommend you pick up. This is used in like a lot of Overlord decks throughout the years. Like really, this is a useful card. This is a useful card and I recommend picking it up. It's that good in my opinion. It really is that good. Finally, the few grade 3s. Once that hits, discard 1, draw 1. Alright, cool. We got the Overlord Break Ride. So this, of course, does have the same name as the original Dragonic Overlord, so it does give Cross Ride to the end, which is nice. So this guy says, during your turn, if you have more rearguards than your opponent, gain 3k, and then he has a Break Ride skill. Then Break 4 when ridden over. For that turn, your Vanguard gains plus 10k power, and if your Vanguard is an Overlord, gain the following ability. Vanguard circle once per turn. When the attack hits a rearguard, cost 1, discard 1, and stand this unit and draw 2. So this card is cool because this lets you discard 1 to draw 2. Usually it's like, you know, the only one that's been able to make that card trait has been the end, right? It's a Persona Blast, a very specific discard to draw 2. But this is like, you can discard anything as long as you hit a rearguard, which is like, yeah, just attack into an Interceptor and you'll get to restand. This is quite nice because you can hit an Interceptor, restand and draw 2, and then like dig for your the ends, then attack the Vanguard, hit, use the end, and attack the Vanguard again. So you get 3 attacks from the Vanguard, just like that, thanks to this Break Ride, while having Cross Ride and all that extra power to get over defensives. I think it's pretty good. And finally, of course, the cover card for Kagero is Dragonic Overlord, The Rebirth. So this card, it's probably the worst one of everything they introduced. The Break Ride, I think, might actually be used in the future. The reason why I have 3 is because I run one of the old Overlords too, because you can only have 4 of a card with the same name in a deck, and they do share the same name, so you have to choose which ratio you want to play them in. Now the old Overlord is still nice, and you can search out with that grade 1, so it's great. But the Rebirth kind of lacks. Okay, so he can be put into a Link Joker deck, but he doesn't have any skills. That's for Glendios. Then he cross rides with the Dragonic Overlord, whether that's the one that clears the front row or the Break Ride. Then his new skill is, when his attack hits a rearguard, you can count to and discard an Overlord to choose an opponent's rearguard and retire it. So what you can do with this is Break Ride it over the Rebirth to attack a rearguard. Use the Rebirth effect to discard 1, stand it, draw 2, and then from it hitting, you can cost 2, discard an Overlord to pop the other Interceptor and then swing face without having to swing into other Interceptors. Because his first skill is Break 4, lock your rearguards until you reach 5 locked cards. So it doesn't matter if you're playing as Link Joker and they have locked 4 of your stuff, you'll have to lock the 5th one, right? That's just how it works. For that turn, he gains plus 10k power and the following ability. Once per turn at the end of the battle that he attacked, discard 1, and you may stand him and draw 2. So this is also a discard 1, draw 2, but it's a very tough condition. You have to give up your 2 rearguard attacks, which the end does not ask you to give up. The end lets you attack with your rearguards and, you know, still attack with the Vanguard twice or 3 times. Whereas this guy says, yeah, no rearguards, I stand alone, which is a pretty big detriment. Like, this is probably one of the worst overlords just because of that. You know, you don't have like self-unlocking orders until really late into premium, so that's not going to be a thing in Zero if ever. But it's okay. It's okay. It's still a cool. I love it. It like looks wise, bruh. You want to talk about this guy's looks? He looks amazing. This car looks insane, but it just effect wise, the end is just kind of better. The end is still just kind of better, and really the big takeaway from this is this and Burnout. Like the Break Ride and Burnout are the big takeaways for Kagero in my opinion. So yeah, that's Kagero. Now let's finally take a look at Link Joker before this video gets too long. Not too many cards to look at for Link Joker actually, just a few here and there. Most important one by far is the World Line Dragon. Vanguard Circle and in your soul at the beginning of your right phase, if your Vanguard is not a grade 3 yet, you can discard a reverse unit from your hand to activate it. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, put one of them into your hand. If you added a reverse unit from those cards to your hand, you create a card that is the same as that one and put it back into your deck. So just like the Maelstrom Search from last set, this basically like replenishes the grade 3 count in your deck without taking away from it. This card's really good. You get to discard reverse units, which are grade 3s without skills, to basically like search out a grade 1 to ride into, search out PG, search out a grade 2 to ride into, search out pieces for your combos. This is really cool. Like, this makes the reverse deck pop, and that's obviously amazing. Let's look at the grade 1s here. This guy says during your turn, for each of your reverse rear guards gains plus 1k. You know, spoiler alert, you play a lot of reverses in this deck. Then we have this thing, the Rubidium. When plays a rear circle, if your Vanguard is Omega Glendios, you can retire this card to give one of your reverse rear guards intercept. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You just get to, you know, pop itself to give one of your grade 3s intercept. That sounds pretty strong to me. I personally quite liked it. Also, the art of Rubidium is really, really cool. Like, damn, I didn't realize how good she looked until I really looked at the art in Zero, so that's a big thing. Then, wow, this SP looks insane. This is the Ruin Magician. So, rear circle in place, count mouse 1, and for each of your reverse rear guards, choose a reverse card from your drop zone and add it to your hand. Oh, sorry, for each, I think it's for each different reverse rear guard. So you have to have different ones, and then if you have like 3, you get almost 1 and add 3 back to your hand, which is quite cool. So it's a nice way to replenish them, because you do need those reverse cards for literally everything. They are your engine. Because also, things like the Pura Seojim, something like that. When placed on rear guard circle, for each of your different reverse rear guards, countercharge 1. Finally, countercharging Link Joker. What did it cost? Having to run reverse units. So, like, you know, Mega Glendios, that's great. You get to countercharge a whole bunch. Like, you kind of want to play this in, like, Chaos and stuff, too, and people have tried it, but I'm not sure how good it is. Feels kind of clunky, feels kind of bricky. Does like use World Line, so it's a cool engine to have, but it doesn't achieve anything anywhere near as much as it does in Glendios. So it's a cool package though, it's a cool package. For grade 2s, we have the Cold Death Dragon. When placed on rear guard circle, your opponent has a locked card, count mouse 1, and at the beginning of your opponent's next turn, your opponent has to call the top card of their deck to a rear guard circle as the locked card. That's strong. That's very strong. Count mouse 1 to force a locked card when your opponent's field started their next turn is really good, especially if you've locked their entire back row. Now they're forced to actually, like, you know, call as locked in the front row. Pretty strong, pretty strong. And of course, all good decks need a tutor, and so does Glendios with the Magnet Hollow. When his attack hits a Vanguard, if your Vanguard is a Starvader, count mouse 1 and search your deck for a reverse card and add it to your hand. This guy does not self-replace, so keep that in mind. So this will just basically take out a trigger from your deck, but it's pretty good because you do need a lot of reverse units, as you saw from the grade 1s earlier. And of course, the big payoff for playing all these reverse units is in the grade 3s. Take a look at the comments first. During your turn, Vanguard gains 4k, nothing too great. We got this thing, count mouse 1, limit break 4, to choose an opponent's back or rear guard and lock it, and during your turn, if you have more rears than your opponent, gain 3k. Cool budget deck, I guess. And then of course we got the Halcyon, limit break 4, all of your reverse rear guards get intercept. but doesn't do much else, which is kind of a shame. Kind of a shame. I think this thing gave like shield to your reverse cards in the TCG or something like that. Then we have the card that helps to add consistency, which is the Reverse Cradle, which is a reverse unit that you can run as a 4 of 2. This guy said, Limerick 4 Vanguard Circle once per turn. When your reverse rearguard is placed, you randomly lock one of your opponent's rearguards, prioritizing the back row. And then for that turn, this unit gains plus 5k power. That skill is kind of, it's good. It's pretty good. You know, free lock is cool, but the best part of this card is the second one. Rearguard Circle, when placed, if your Vanguard is Omega Glendios, then you can discard a Omega Glendios from your hand, and then you get to choose a reverse card from your drop zone, add it to your hand. Cool. Nice. Epic. Really cool. Just basically lets you recycle your reverse cards and get rid of like the dead Glendioses in your hand. This deck doesn't really use soul, so like rewriting isn't that necessary either. And of course the big boy payoff is Mr. Glendios himself. So of course that very famous Limerick 5 at the beginning of your main phase, if your opponent has 5 locked cards or more, you win the game. So this was the first ever alternate win con in Vanguard, drawn by Masami Obari, drawn by Daikaiser's artist. Mwah, beautiful, love to see it. So it's great, looks fantastic. But let's look at the other skills. You know, why do we run so many reverse cards in this damn deck? Well, let's find out. So first things first, he says Vanguard Circle, all of your reverse rear guards gain 5k power, and they cannot be locked by your opponent's effects. That makes this mirror pretty good, and this makes the Chaos matchup pretty good all of a sudden too, because your reverse rearguards are just kind of immune to its own medicine, which is pretty strong. You know, they've already been locked and reverse, right? Then Vanguard Circle once per turn, when your reverse rearguard is placed, you randomly lock one of your opponent's rearguards, protecting the back row, and during your opponent's next end phase, that locked card will not unlock, which is called an Omega lock, hence Omega Glendios. So there's a once per turn ability, but you have to call a reverse card every single turn to keep using it, because you lock something for basically 2 turns, and if you can call it down, call another one down next turn, you have 1 card locked for 2 turns and 1 locked card for that turn. And then there's a way to extend that, which is Limit Break 4, once per turn, Kalmas 1, and discard a reverse card to until the basically to make it so that during your opponent's next end phase, all of their locked cards do not unlock. So literally tell all of their locked cards Omega lock, right? That's a really powerful skill, and of course that's what leads into the Limerick 5, which lets you win the whole game. And that's it. That's the set. The final set of the Link Joker era, of course, is very dramatic. There's so much going on. There's new Overlords, new Alfreds, you know, new... what else is there even? Like Revengers, and now Glendios is here too. It's a crazy party, and you're all invited. So I hope you have fun with this set. I personally really enjoyed it. I played a lot of Overlord during this set. Glendios just gave me a headache from like trying to understand it, so I didn't really build it. Maybe one day, maybe when it comes when the Stride support comes out or something. But yeah, like I enjoyed Revengers a fair bit, but I enjoy them more in Legion now, and like Golds were pretty fun. But most important, like I really enjoyed Kagero. Like you guys build those Overlord decks. They're really fun. I recommend playing Overlord as a deck. It's super fun if you're into Kagero at all. Or like me, I don't really care about Kagero. Like I never really was into Kagero in TCG, but in Zero I love playing it. So I just have the cookie crumble sometimes, right? Anyway, that's basically it for today. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. We're going to be doing our big pack opening for set 20 on twitch.tv/DifferentFight. So hope to see you guys there. But anyway, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.